For many obvious reasons, the attention will, most of it anyway, will go to Tyrann Mathieu. He played in the game as the others did not, but also because Tyrann Mathieu just provided another example of one of the things that makes sports amazing, which is comebacks. I want to talk about that in a sec, but here was Tyrann in his own words talking about what winning the Super Bowl means for his journey.
I'm so happy that God chose me to kind of inspire the next person. I don't think life will ever be fair, right? It'll always be full of challenges. I'm so grateful for God and the people that God has put in my life. They sparked my mind. They gave me a vision. They gave me a little bit of hope. And then on top of all that, I come to Kansas City, and I truly believe everybody in that building believes in my ability. They think I'm that guy, and it gives me some confidence, especially on game day.
It's great perspective, man, from a guy who 8 years ago didn't have it. And maybe part of that is the fact that he's now a father, and Tyrann talked about what it meant to share the moment on Super Bowl Sunday with his two sons.
It's so special. My youngest son, he's so into football. He's a big primetime fan. He know all the guys, and he looked me in my eye. He like, Daddy, we won a Super Bowl, and that's so special, man. To have my children here, man, they mean everything to me. I think 7 years ago, me going through what I went through and having a kid, it gave me a sense of responsibility, accountability. So, if it wasn't for those two boys right there, man, no telling where I'd be.
Perspective is an amazing thing, and Tyrann Mathieu has found a lot of it in his life. Winning the Super Bowl is another chapter in an amazing story that is not yet finished. When you chronicle the last 8 years of Tyrann Mathieu's life, from being on top of the football world as the Honey Badger, where he was a viral sensation, a defensive player in New York City as a Heisman finalist, where celebrities transcending sports knew who he was. And you go from that level of fame, not just celebrity, like famous, that level of fame in an instant, because he was an unknown prospect when he signed with LSU. And in 18 months, he was famous. And then before the 2012 season kicked off, he was kicked off the team. And although he tried, remember, Tyrann tried to get back into school. He was still enrolled in school. He tried to get back on the team. And then he was arrested because he couldn't kick his habit of smoking weed. Didn't have the perspective in life of knowing what opportunity he was throwing away by hanging around the wrong people, by doing the wrong things and making the wrong decisions. And somewhere in that interim, he had enough people who grabbed him, straightened him up. Patrick Peterson and his family deserve a ton of credit for that. Got him back on the right track. And then he was drafted in 2013. And his professional career hasn't always been the easiest. They lost a lot of games in Arizona. He's battled injuries, come back from them. Left Arizona, went to Houston for a year, and now this season in Kansas City, where he emerged not only as a leader, but an all-pro safety, and now a Super Bowl champion. And the book isn't completely written. This is just another chapter in this story. There are many more chapters still to be told in Tyrann Mathieu's life, both in football and after football is done. But one thing that I know that's an undeniable truth about America is that America, collectively, culturally, we love a comeback story. We gravitate toward comebacks. We root for people. It's the bootstrap mentality upon which our nation was founded. I'm not trying to be all Pollyanna, but that's just the reality of it. And a bunch of farmers with pitchforks that overthrew the greatest army in the world at the time and formed what has become the greatest country in the history of mankind. It's an amazing thing, and it's part of our DNA and our fabric and our culture. And sometimes sports provides us these opportunities and moments like this and stories like this. And Tyrann Mathieu is an example of one of those guys. When you think about some of the greatest comeback stories, there are those that were people who overcame injuries. Mario Lemieux overcoming cancer to come back and still be a great hockey player. Same thing with Eric Berry in the NFL. Lance Armstrong. I mean, I know Lance has had his fall from grace, but just when you think about what he overcame in beating the cancer that nearly took his life to win 7 tours, why do you think Lance Armstrong became one of the most famous men in our country? Because he beat death, cheated death, and then went on to achieve great things. And he's had a subsequent fall from grace. It'll be interesting to see if he could ever climb out of it again. But there have been other stories where the harm was self-inflicted. Look at Tiger Woods. Tiger Woods was arguably the most famous athlete walking the face of planet Earth when Thanksgiving 2009, he crashed that SUV and his life went to a tailspin for a decade. And then he won the Masters, and everybody celebrated because he did it. He achieved the comeback. Lesser known or heralded, Andre Agassi went through a similar thing. Andre Agassi was at the top of the tennis world in the early 1990s. He was dating Brooke Shields, long hair, endorsement deals galore. And then he literally got hooked on crystal meth, and it ruined his life. And then he straightened his life up and became a champion again. I mean, Tyrann Mathieu is in that category. To what degree of celebrity, that's for other people to decide. But that's what makes him and his story so amazing, is he had it all. And he was too young and, forgive the phrasing, but dumb and immature to realize what he had, the opportunity he had, and he lost it all. And only upon losing it all did he realize what he had wasted. And there's been a lot of examples, too many examples, of people who couldn't come back from that, from hitting rock bottom, and it ended them. Not Tyrann. Not the Badger. And yesterday, Tyrann Mathieu is hugging the Lombardi Trophy. Are you freaking kidding me? How awesome is that? The guy that damn near decapitated that Kentucky quarterback, Maxwell Smith, the guy who brought LSU from not converting a single first down in the first half of the SEC championship game and then just owned Georgia for the second half. That guy, who was the honey badger on top of the world, who we all loved, who then hit rock bottom, and a lot of people here abandoned. Don't think, you know who you are. Don't think I remember those conversations on this show with so many people. Never want Tyrann to have anything to do with the program ever again. And there he was. A proud dad, a world champion, celebrating in that moment, beloved. It's an amazing story, man. I'll applaud for him. I'll always cheer for him. I know many people here will as well. Great testament to owning your mistakes and being better because of them. So congrats to Tyrann Mathieu, world champion.